This is not your average nervous system regulation video. It's going to be the ultimate video on mastering nervous system agility, which you probably haven't heard of before. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly why your nervous system stays rigid no matter what you try, why you're stuck in chronic nervous system patterns that keep you in stress or shutdown mode, even if you've tried popular tools before, and what is holding you back from your best success and proper healing, and how you can actually develop something I call nervous system agility. So clarity, focus, and sustained energy becomes your baseline. So many people are missing this deeper layer to energy optimization, and once you understand it, everything clicks. I hope you watch this video through to the very end. I promise you, it'll be worth it, because mastering nervous system agility is one of those things that will completely transform your life. Hey, I'm Katrin, and I help ambitious people master their nervous systems so they can show up with energy, focus, and confidence without the exhaustion and overwhelm. I've spent 25 years in global workplace well-being and performance psychology, and what I'm sharing today is what I wish I would have known at the beginning of my career. It's something most people never even hear of, but the crucial foundation for success. If that's something that you want to master, you should subscribe and stick around. And in case you want more from me, I've got free resources and assessments linked down below. Okay, so before we get into how to actually optimize your energy, we need to talk about what nervous system agility even is in the first place and why it matters so much. Because once you understand this, it will become a lot easier to understand how to fix your overwhelm and exhaustion and potentially even your burnout. Your nervous system is basically your body's operating system. It's the biological foundation that determines everything: your focus, your decision making, your confidence, your presence, how you show up in relationships, and how you perform ultimately under pressure. But what most people don't realize is your nervous system has one main job. It constantly scans what's happening both inside your body and around you, and keep you safe. It's your body's internal control center as such. Should you be calm and focused or alarmed? Should your heart slow down or speed up? Is this moment safe or threatening? It's constantly scanning, trying to figure it out. And it's very good at its job, but easily goes into overdrive, especially with our modern stressors. And it gets stuck in chronic stress mode, and we lose our ability to rebalance. But this is the key. Nervous system agility is a learnable skill. It's not something you either have or you don't have. It's not a personality trait. It's a skill you develop. Nervous system agility means that you can accurately sense what state you're in right now, that you can recognize when you've gone into an automatic overprotective stress response, that you understand which dominant stress pattern you're stuck in, and consciously shift to that state that actually serves you in the moment best. Your nervous system has several major gears that it switches between. So first, there is stress mode, your fight or flight response. This is your body sensing danger. Your heart races, your mind goes into overdrive, you're hyper alert, you're ready to perform or protect yourself. And then there is shutdown mode, when you freeze, when you disconnect or go numb. This is when your body decides fighting or running won't work, so it shuts down to conserve energy. There's also fawn, the people-pleasing mode, where you abandon your own needs completely to keep others happy, because somewhere along the line you've learned that keeping the peace equals safety. And then there's the regulated mode. So that's your calm, connected, and grounded state. It's what I also call the zone of top performance. This is when you can think clearly, you make the best decisions, you're present with people, you actually recover and recharge in this mode as well. But this is the problem. If your system is stuck in one of those protective modes all the time, which for most high achievers it is, that means your body is chronically sensing danger even when none actually exists. And what is really happening when you're stressed and scattered is that your brain and body are literally out of sync. So what you're thinking and what you're feeling doesn't match. Your mental state is saying one thing, but your emotional state is saying a completely other story. So that creates incoherent energy in you, and that's what drains you. You feel anxious, exhausted, or emotionally reactive all the time. You struggle to sleep or feel calm, and you constantly overthink or people please. You might even self-sabotage or get sick more easily. It's because you never feel safe in yourself, and it affects everything. Your physical health, your mental clarity, your emotions, your relationships, your ability to make decisions, your ability to trust yourself, everything. So optimizing your energy isn't just about being a little less tired. It's about developing nervous system agility, that skill of sensing your state and constantly shifting so you can function properly and show up as your full, grounded, confident, and magnetic self. The first step to developing this agility is to learn the difference between real and perceived danger, because this is the part that changes everything and what most people don't realize. So of course, you want your body to react to real danger. So if you're on the motorway and the car in front of you is suddenly slamming on the brakes, you want your body to freak out and quickly react. You want all the alarm bells to go off. You're supposed to have a strong sense of danger because that's what keeps you alive. But your body is not just reacting to this real threat. It's reacting to any perceived or anticipated danger too. And that is a huge difference. It's like this: if you're constantly hypervigilant and anticipating the worst case scenarios while you're driving, you're quickly depleting all your energy levels, but there's no real threat. There's no real danger. You are anticipating it though and reacting like there is. So you're still having the same exact experience if there was a real threat, because that's what your body is perceiving. Your body isn't responding to what's true, it's responding to what it anticipates. The root cause of chronic exhaustion and depletion is rigid nervous system patterns that are stuck in that perceived danger. And this is what makes high achiever burnout different from regular burnout. Most burnout advice focuses on external factors: your workload, your demanding boss, your impossible schedule. And yes, those things really do matter. But high achiever burnout is more self-initiated through deeply ingrained nervous system patterns that often stem from childhood experiences rather than your current situation. So maybe consider this scenario. If you grew up in a house where you had to constantly read the room to stay safe, your nervous system learned to pick up on the tiniest signals. If you've experienced rejection or abandonment, your system learned that being alone equals danger. If there was a lot of money worry or instability financially, your body tagged finances as a threat. If you were only praised when you achieved, your system concluded that rest equals danger. Something happened that caused your system to become heightened, to become ultra sensitive and ultra reactive to threats. So that same nervous system that kept you safe at one point is actually now just causing you havoc. And it's what's causing you to always stay overwhelmed and stressed and anxious and shut down. So here's this self-perpetuating cycle. Your childhood experience creates the protective nervous system response. So for example, if I'm perfect, I'm safe. Then that response gets rewarded and reinforced in school, in your early career. For example, you hear, oh, you're so driven, so that reinforces that further. And then that pattern becomes deeply ingrained and fully automatic almost, but also chronic. And eventually, this pattern that brought you safety and initial success creates burnout. But to try and overcome burnout, we usually then do even more of what we think protects us. And so this vicious cycle continues, but you can't see it because it's operating automatically. That weird tone in your colleague's email, or that bank balance when you text someone you like and they don't respond, or registers as potential danger, especially to a system that adapted to become hyperreactive. The problem isn't that you feel anxious about money or you overthink or you people please. There's a deeper thing going on here. The problem is that somewhere along the way, your nervous system concluded that those normal parts of life are threats to your survival. So your body is stuck asking, am I safe? Am I good? Am I safe? Am I good? And the answer it keeps getting is, nope, scary, danger, nope, watch out, don't think that's good enough. The point that I want to drive into your brain right now is that your system became ultra sensitive because it's stuck in rigid patterns that perceive danger everywhere. And really at the core of all of this is a lack of trust. And that is what I've never heard anybody say when it comes to energy optimization and high performance. Underneath it all, chronic stress and depletion is about broken trust. Trust with yourself, trust with others, trust with life, trust with uncertainty. Your system doesn't trust that you can handle stress. Your system doesn't trust that you can handle whatever comes your way. And this is what most people miss. Your nervous system is stuck in rigid patterns, not just stressed. You're not just experiencing temporary stress, you're stuck in the same protective response over and over again, whether it's that constant anxiety, that overactivation, or chronic shutdown and underactivation of your energies, or endless people pleasing. That's the fawn response. And so that is what we have to fix to truly optimize your energy and bring back nervous system agility. You have to show your brain and your body that you are safe right now, over and over again, so that your system stops seeing life as a constant threat and can develop the agility to move between states. And we're going to talk about how to do this. But just know, this isn't about trying to eliminate all discomfort from your life. This is about expanding your capacity to handle it without immediately jumping into that survival mode. This is about developing the agility to respond appropriately instead of rigidly. Because once your brain and your body start to feel safe, once you develop nervous system agility again, stress will still be an inconvenience, discomfort will still be uncomfortable, but it won't feel like danger anymore. And that's what we have to separate. It won't trigger a full survival response because your system no longer perceives it as a full-on threat. So now, before we go into how to actually do this, we need to talk about why all your popular productivity and wellness tools that you've probably already been using aren't fully fixing the issue and why you're still struggling. So let's talk about all of those tools that you've probably heard of before. Morning routines, meditations, cold plunges, breathwork, journaling, time blocking, all of that. Now, all of those tools are truly wonderful, and I am not discounting any of these at all. In fact, I use these techniques and they can help you down-regulate in the moment, and they can help you manage stress in the moment. They can bring you back to center when things feel overwhelming. These tools are very powerful, but, and here's what I want to gently point out, most people are using these tools to recover from stress because they've already had a disproportionate stress response. They're trying to just recover from being overwhelmed or anxious or depleted, but not to deeply rewire the patterns that are causing it in the first place. And this is an even bigger problem now. If you use the wrong intervention mismatched to your state, it can actually make you feel worse. This is huge and nobody talks about this. If you're already overactivated, for example, you're wired, you're anxious, you've got racing thoughts, and you do high intensity exercise or drink more coffee or push yourself harder, you're activating a system that's already in overdrive. You'll spike your anxiety further, crash even harder, and maybe even trigger a panic attack. If you're underactivated though, shut down, numb, exhausted, disconnected, and you try gentle yoga or a long meditation or restorative practices, you might sink even deeper into shutdown. You need activation, not more calming. And this is why the same practice that helps your friend might make you feel worse. Not because you're doing it wrong or doing the wrong thing, but because it's mismatched to your nervous system need and state. And this is what no one tells you about meditation or mindfulness in particular. Meditation is super helpful. but only when matched to the right nervous system state. Stillness meditation, the kind where you sit quietly and observe your thoughts, can be really deeply helpful. But if you're in a calm or in a slightly activated state, but if you're in shutdown, so you're totally underactivated, that sitting still can actually reinforce that freeze response. You might dissociate, feel more disconnected, or just fall asleep. Your body interprets stillness as, yes, continue shutting down. And if you're in extreme anxiety, so extremely overactivated, sitting still can feel like torture. Your thoughts race faster, your body wants to move, you might even have a panic attack. The stillness creates more internal pressure. So it's too much, too soon. This is why so many people say meditation does not work for me, or meditation makes my anxiety worse. It's not that they're bad at meditation or meditation isn't effective. It's that they were practicing the wrong type of intervention at the wrong time. So let me be really clear here. These tools can be amazing support, and some tools work better for some people than others, but they don't automatically change your subconscious programming, and they can backfire if they are mismatched to your state. They don't rewire the part of you that still believes rest is lazy and dangerous, money is unstable, I'll definitely be rejected if I speak up, nothing is ever truly safe. So, for example, let's take cold plunges. Cold plunges help you stay calm in the presence of discomfort. So you're practicing managing your reaction to stress, and that is powerful and very real. But rewiring subconscious beliefs, on the other hand, actually changes your definition of what counts as danger in the first place. So it shifts that lens your system is using to interpret the world. So things that used to trigger you now feel neutral. It's the difference between managing the alarm and no longer triggering the alarm at all. It's about making your nervous system pattern flexible, where it's become rigid. And perceiving danger and believing that life is dangerous and that you don't trust it. You don't trust uncertainty, and you can't trust yourself to handle it. And this is why, if you've been using these common tools forever and you know that they help, but you still haven't felt that real shift that you're looking for, it's because you're not getting to that deeper layer. So let's talk about how to rewire those rigid nervous system patterns so that your system doesn't have to keep constantly turning on that alarm all the time. And so you can develop true nervous system agility instead of chronic stress. Okay, let's start with step 1. Identify the unsafe belief. So what does my system believe that keeps me feeling threatened? What rigid patterns am I stuck in? These are some common examples of beliefs that wreak havoc on your energy. Saying no will make people reject me. Conflict means the relationship is over. Rest is lazy, unproductive, or is a threat to my survival. Or if I slow down, everything's going to fall apart. That's one of mine. If I'm not perfect, I'm not lovable. Money is always unstable or scarce. If I don't control everything, I'll get hurt. If I show my real emotions, people will leave. Look at these areas of your life where you feel the most anxious or reactive or stuck. What situations constantly trigger stress and alarm bells? That's usually pointing to an underlying terrified belief. For example, if you get anxious every time you need to rest or take a break, there's probably an underlying belief that says, if I rest, I might lose everything. If you avoid conflict at all costs and people please constantly, then there's probably a belief that says, if people are upset with me, then they'll abandon me. And let's be real, if you're chronically exhausted and depleted, you might have a lot of beliefs like this. And that's okay. Just know that true healing and true rewiring take time, and it's okay to take it one belief at a time. Now, step number 2, assess your current state. Before you try to fix anything, you need to know what state you're in the first place. So this is where most people go wrong. They try interventions without first checking. Am I overactivated or underactivated? So are you overactivated? It feels like anxiety, racing thoughts, restlessness, anger, or when we can't slow down. And the physical signs are often that we have an elevated heart rate, that we perceive tension in our body, that we have very shallow breathing, and that we can feel very hot. And in this state, we need calming, grounding, and parasympathetic activation. Then to the question, or am I underactivated? So that feels like numbness, shutting down, exhaustion, heaviness where we can't move. And our physical signs are often low energy, disconnection, brain fog, feeling cold, and everything just feels a bit slow. And in this state, you need activation, energizing activities, movement, gentle stimulation. Or are you possibly in a people-pleasing mode? So that feels like we're overgiving, we're abandoning ourselves, where resentment builds up, and the physical signs are often fatigue from suppressing your own needs. And in this state, you need boundary work, self-advocacy, and accessing healthy assertion. Or are you fine and quite regulated? So that feels like being really present, connected to yourself and others. You're flexible, you're grounded, and the physical signs are that you feel at ease, that you feel like you've got capacity, that you have a general sense of openness. And in this state, maybe you just need a bit of maintenance and gentle challenges to build your capacity even further. This self-assessment is crucial because the same practice that helps one state can hurt another. And if you're unsure of what your dominant state is, I've actually created a free assessment that tells you yours right away. It also comes with a quick action guide for your specific state. So check it out in the pinned comment. Now, step number 3, create safety through tiny opposite action. So this is where we are starting to use state-matched interventions. And this is the key. You don't just change a belief by thinking differently. That belief fully changes in your body when you experience it differently. So your system is constantly making updates based on what you live through and experience, not by what you intellectually understand. Once you've identified the belief that's keeping you stuck and assessed which nervous system state you're in, your next step is to go gently against the belief in tiny, manageable ways, using interventions matched to your state. Think of this as building nervous system agility. You're teaching your nervous system that it can move between states totally safely. So here are some examples for overactivated states. If you believe rest will make my entire world unravel and you're anxious and wired, maybe try sitting down for just 10 minutes with slow, deep out breaths. Put your hand on your heart and feel it slow down. Then notice that calming down doesn't equal collapse. If your belief is saying no will make people reject me and you're people pleasing from anxiety, start with tiny no's and gentle grounding, feet on the floor, firm voice, or no, I'm good, thanks. Saying that while staying present to your own body, and then fully notice that you didn't get abandoned. Here's some examples for underactivated states. If you believe I can't handle conflict and you're shut down and numb, don't start with calming practices. You need activation first. Try gentle movement, maybe a short walk, while listening to some energizing music. Then express one small preference. For example, I'd rather have Italian than sushi today. And then notice that activation and mild assertion didn't create disaster. If you believe I have no energy and you're in shutdown, just some gentle activation can be helpful here. Just even standing up, shaking your arms, doing some jumping jacks. Cold water on your face or just on your wrists is really helpful as well. And then approach the task you've been avoiding. Notice that movement creates energy and doesn't deplete it further. The goal here isn't to just push through. The goal is to match the intervention to your state and then gently challenge that belief. You're not trying to go from shutdown to high performance in just one step. You're going from shutdown to slightly activated, and from slightly activated to be more present, and building that agility gradually. This is the start of real rewiring, not just thinking a new thought, but also experiencing a new experience with a state-matched intervention in your entire body. Then step 4, find the sweet spot. So not too much and not too little. This step is absolutely crucial in rewiring your beliefs. You know how I said you don't want to push yourself into extreme discomfort. Here's what I mean. If you don't have a belief that's putting you into survival mode, let's just take a common fear as an example, a fear of public speaking maybe. If you force yourself to go and give a speech to like 5,000 people live with those big lights shining on you, you're going to trigger so much fear and discomfort. And even if you make it out of that speech alive and you did actually just fine, your body is still going to register that experience as absolutely stressful and traumatic. It's going to reinforce, oh yeah, public speaking is dangerous because I knew how it felt standing up there and that was terrifying. So this is what I mean. You want to push yourself outside of your comfort zone, but not in a way that is super stressful and further traumatizing. So if you're afraid of public speaking, maybe start by speaking up at a big group dinner with your friends where you stand up and give like a just 10-second toast. Still a little bit scary and pushing yourself, but manageable. And you want your body to be like, hey, I spoke up and nothing terrible happened. People didn't reject me. They quite liked what I said. And I didn't die of total embarrassment. It wasn't traumatizing. You know what? Actually, it was kind of fun. So I'm glad I did that. That's the sweet spot. Uncomfortable enough to challenge those initial beliefs, but regulated enough so that your system doesn't just freak out and it can actually learn from the experience and not shut down from it. Now, even in that sweet spot, there's going to be discomfort, whether you're looking at your bank account or being vulnerable with your partner or trying to release control, there's going to be some discomfort there. When that discomfort comes up, and it will come up, this is the difference right here between those who are eventually able to develop nervous system agility and those who can't. You don't want to harshly sit through the discomfort. You want to gently sit through the discomfort. And I know that makes no sense, but once I explain it, it will. Harshly sitting through the discomfort is forcing yourself to endure it, white knuckling through it, being mean to yourself about having that feeling and that belief, and judging yourself for it, shaming yourself for it even, getting mad at yourself about it. You know what that's going to do? It's going to activate that trauma or that negative belief even more, because there's so much rough intensity and stress and judgment and shame around it. Remember, your system learns through experiences, and you're literally reinforcing a negative experience again. Gently sitting through the discomfort is this: approaching it with kindness and with curiosity, softening your body. No judgment, no shame, just controlling your breathing, slowing down your heart rate, putting your hand on your heart if you need to, and using supportive inner talk. In these moments, you can literally speak to your nervous system like a scared child, because in many ways, that's exactly what's happening. If you showed emotion and feel exposed and uncomfortable, you can talk to yourself and say, we're not in danger. This is just vulnerability. We can handle it. We're safe. We're good. We're chill. We can be seen now. If you addressed a conflict with somebody and it's scary and you feel that discomfort start kicking in, you can say to yourself, I know this used to be scary, but we can handle it now. We're safe to have our own opinions. And even if the other person does get mad, we're still good. So if somebody you were texting who you're really starting to like starts not to respond so eagerly anymore and you start freaking out about it, you can say to yourself, I know this feels like rejection and that's scary, but we're safe. Even if they're not interested, we can handle disappointment. Do you feel the difference between sitting in the discomfort harshly versus sitting in the discomfort gently? This is absolutely key. The harshness will further reinforce a negative experience, whereas the gentleness will slowly start to release it, because your body is no longer reacting so intensely anymore. Right, now moving on to step number 5. Notice and celebrate the evidence. So after you survived the discomfort, actively notice what happened. I rested for 10 minutes and the world didn't end. I said no and they didn't reject me. I had a disagreement and the relationship is still intact. In fact, I feel even closer to them. I showed my real emotions and they're still here. I activated my body when I felt shut down and I actually feel better not worse. This is the proof your system needs, and every time you survive doing the things that you once thought were dangerous, your system starts getting this new data. And then finally, step 6 now. Repeat, repeat, repeat. To rewire your subconscious beliefs about safety and developing nervous system agility, it takes repeat experiences. So you don't just do one thing once and go, oh, belief gone, agility achieved, no more fear at all, yay. No, your system learned the rigid patterns through repetition, probably in childhood, and it has to learn agility through repetition as well. So every time you do the thing and survive, and not just survive, but you stay calm and gentle through that process using your state-matched practices, that's one more piece of evidence that's building true nervous system agility. Just like if you start lifting weights, you don't go, oh, one bicep curl, all right, I'm super strong now. Now it takes reps over and over and over again. Same with your energy. You are literally building new neural pathways in your brain, and that takes time. So you're training your system to develop agility, the ability to sense your state and shift appropriately rather than staying stuck in one rigid pattern forevermore. And here's the wonderful thing. Every single rep counts. Every single piece of evidence counts. Every time you say no without apologizing, every time you rest without guilt, every time you have conflict without people pleasing your way out of it, every time you activate when you're shut down instead of staying collapsed, that's your system getting stronger evidence that you are safe, that agility is possible. And this is the point that you cannot miss. The point is that eventually your system stops seeing these normal life situations as dangerous at all and develops the flexibility to respond appropriately. So you're not just building tolerance to discomfort, you're eliminating the rigid patterns and building nervous system agility. That is the deeper layer that changes everything. You're not just coping better, you're actually developing a new skill at its source. So it's not, oh, I can handle feeling scared when I check my bank account. It's, I no longer feel scared when I check my bank account because my system no longer thinks it's dangerous. And when something actually does need my attention, I can respond appropriately without collapsing or spiraling. That's when you know the agility has developed. When checking your bank account feels neutral, when saying no feels normal, when having a disagreement just feels like having a disagreement. No alarm bells, no panic, just normal human interaction with appropriate responses. That's real energy optimization, not needing tools to manage your rigid reactions, but developing agility so you can shift states consciously. So be patient with yourself and trust the process. Your system is learning even when it doesn't feel like it. So before we wrap up, I just want you to remember this. A healthy energy system isn't always calm. It doesn't mean that you just chill all the time. A healthy energy system has agility. It's responsive, not rigid. It can move in and out of different states as needed. So it can rev up when it needs to, when you really need to focus, when you need to perform, when you move fast or protect yourself. And then it can slow back down when it's safe to rest, digest and connect. The goal isn't to never feel anxious or stressed, because that's never going to happen. The goal is to develop nervous system agility. The skill to accurately sense what state you're in, to understand when a stress response is appropriate versus when it's a rigid pattern, to consciously shift states using matched interventions, and to build capacity to handle more without falling apart, and also to return to regulated baselines more quickly. You can meet whatever life throws at you, feel it fully, respond appropriately, and come back to center. And here's the best part. You don't need hours and hours to develop this. Nervous system agility is built through short, consistent practices. 1 to 5 minutes is what I'm talking about. Multiple times a day is more effective than one long session. So quick check-ins throughout the day, brief practices matched to your state, tiny actions that challenge rigid beliefs. That's how you build sustainable transformation, not through massive overhauls, but through micro practices that fit into real life. To optimize your energy, you're not aiming for a life without stress. You're aiming for nervous system agility. You're aiming for a body that knows you're safe and has the flexibility to respond to whatever comes. If you do follow these steps, I promise you, you will start to feel so much more balanced and ready for life because you are working with your whole body-mind intelligence. Now, if you're really not feeling any significant change, there are possible deeper reasons for this. I link my other video on these to help you even more specifically. I'll put it in the description and at the end for you. I know this video was long. If you stayed until the very end, I appreciate you so much. And I also really hope that you got insights and a new direction for healing from this video. If you did, leave your favorite emoji in the comments below so I know. Now, if you want to go even deeper into developing nervous system agility and learn the practical techniques to regulate your system in real time, you might want to check out the 14-day energized reset, which is like a retreat from home, or even my one-on-one coaching with me, or my free nervous system state assessment could be the perfect next step for you. It'll help you identify exactly what state you're stuck in and what interventions actually match your system. So that link is in the description as well. Stay safe, subtle, and strong. And I'll see you in the next one.